YouTube, what is that word, man? It's been a minute since I did one of these, man. This is another edition of Marko Stats Reacts. We've been gone for a minute, man, focusing on music, all different type of stuff, man. We're going to get into it later. But for this video that I seen, I thought it was really important to react to because of the title. It's entitled, How China is Using Weed to Secretly Poison Americans. Now, I am a person who smokes a lot of weed. So when I seen this title, I was like, I wonder what are they going to talk about, because that is concerning for a weed smoker like myself. So without further ado, we just going to jump right into it.
It furthers the CCP's goals to have as much cheap, crappy, poisoned pot as possible on the streets, as widely available as possible. So instead of being, fit and patriotic and ready to join the military, you're sitting on your couch smoking poisoned pot all day playing Xbox.
That was crazy.
Is this a business that they've generated to procure more real estate in the United States? Or are they poisoning the marijuana? Or, it could be anything. China has so many angles on us.
Yes, and yes.
What am I missing?
So the cannabis that they're producing more often than not has pesticides on it, banned substances. There are 13 or 14 different pesticides that have been identified at Chinese grows in California that are prohibited for use in the United States on anything.
And these are indoor?
They are indoor grows. In the Siskiyou forest in Northern California, they have what are called hoop houses. We can find the YouTube video of some people who have flown drones over them, but they're like city-size areas where they put up these hoop houses, which are greenhouses. And they'll grow marijuana in there, and then they'll set up a 55-gallon drum, and they'll fill it with sawdust, which is a mixture of all of these different herbicides, pesticides, and fungicides, many of which have been imported from China and have no legal use in the U.S. And they'll put a wick in them and burn them. And the smoke fills the hoop house and coats the marijuana and ensures that you don't have any product loss to mold. Because that's a big problem with growing marijuana is the heat, humidity. You're going to get mold. You're going to lose your marijuana. So this is like dropping off, Agent Orange or a nuclear bomb that's going to kill everything except for your marijuana. And they're doing this at a smaller level in houses in Maine as well, where they'll cut half a beer can, take these very same Mylar bags that they're finding in California. They'll find them in Maine, they'll dump them into a beer can, they'll burn them, and they smoke the whole house so that they don't get any mildew or mites or whatever pest on their marijuana plants. And that marijuana is then later consumed along with whatever crazy Chinese pesticides have been applied to it, because there's not a lot of testing on it. And if it's exported across state lines, that's inherently illegal. So whoever takes custody of it...
Watching this high was definitely not a good idea. Watching this high was not a good idea, because I got a little headache right now. So it got me thinking like, damn, am I smoking the marijuana with the pesticides on it?
After that, whoever sells it after that, they're already breaking the law. And there's not really going to be any recourse for a consumer who finds out that they bought illegal weed in a state where it's prohibited, and later they find out that it's got pesticides in it or something. They're probably never going to know. And this stuff has spread so far throughout smoke shops and head shops in the United States that we don't really know where it's being grown. You can't possibly know where it's being grown. The supply chain is so distributed. So the first thing I would say is, yes, it furthers the CCP's goals to have as much cheap, crappy, poisoned pot as possible on the streets, as widely available as possible. So instead of being, fit and...
Why do we ruin people for money? People will literally ruin other people for money. We all just living for this dollar, for this piece of paper, bro. It's got to be a better way to live. Like, I don't know, that shit don't make sense to me.
Patriotic and ready to join the military, you're sitting on your couch smoking poison pot all day playing Xbox. You can see how that furthers the CCP's goal. But they also have established a network that is multimodal, in that some of these products are distributed in the form of vape cartridges. So they're just they're like nicotine vapes or traditional cannabis vapes, where it's just a little canister that's got some oil in it. And that's the extracted, refined 99% THC version of the product. You create that by stuffing a metal tube or a glass tube full of cannabis leaf or cannabis bud, and you blow butane gas or some other kind of gas through it, and all of the oils dissolve out into that gas, including the pesticides and fungicides, by the way. Out the bottom comes the pure THC, which is then used for gummies, vapes, whatever kind of product. But the end result is that you've got these little teeny weeny canisters that you can sell at hemp shops, head shops, wherever, all over the United States. And people are going to pay to have them distributed. People are going to pay to buy them, and they're going to put them up to their mouths and they're going to suck on them because they think they're going to get high. And if you were a planner for the Chinese military and you wanted to do something bad to the United States, what better network for the distribution of a chemical or biological weapon than a network that's going to self-distribute these little vials, millions of them, to 10,000 different little tobacco shops and head shops all across the United States, and people are going to suck it directly into their lungs. So there's a lot of hypotheticals and potentials there, but it certainly exists, and that's the network that they've built. And in the meantime, they're accruing hundreds of billions of dollars to do whatever they want with, to support human trafficking, to support bringing things across the border, to support buying up properties in New Hampshire, to support buying up real estate next to military bases.
Who is this guy?
The Chinese involved in the hemp stuff too?
Yes.
They are.
Yes. It's really all one, I guess one system or one network. There's not a lot of differentiation between the hemp and the cannabis. There's cannabis that's being passed off as hemp. There's hemp that's being passed off as cannabis. And once they call it blowing it out. So once you take, in Oklahoma, you can grow a huge field of hemp legally, harvest it, and you blow it out by putting the plant biomass into a canister, passing the gas through it to do gas extraction. And then the end result is all of this oil. And there's a couple of different cannabinoids that are in that oil. With hemp, the most prominent one is CBD. And you can convert that CBD into THC. They call those products conversion products, and then that THC is indiscernible from the THC that you would get from growing cannabis at a flop house in Dexter, Maine. So they're basically the same thing, but our politicians and our regulatory system treats them like they're completely different. Like Representative Comer just the other day put out a statement about the value of the hemp industry and how important hemp farmers are the backbone of America. And, I'm sure that there are a couple of guys who are growing hemp in an honest way to use it for industrial products. But the most of the hemp is being used for consumable hemp products.
How long ago was it that you found out about the 270 homes that the Chinese are using in Maine?
That was in 2022.
How many are there now?
Probably 500.
500?
Maybe more.
More than that. So it's over.
Yeah, and it's not just houses where they're growing marijuana. We found boarding houses, places that are set up for a large number of guys to eat, sleep, and shit in between cycles, going out to tend to the marijuana plants.
That was in 2022.
Yeah.
Or 2022, you found 270 homes. Now there's well over 500.
Yeah. So in 2022, that was when the memo came out revealing the existence of these locations. And in the ensuing years, we began a process of, based on the patterns we found on the address that we obtained from the reporter who first published that leaked memo, we expanded our investigation, looking at property records, real estate records, tax records, electrical records, to identify more of these places, and then set about driving probably more than 10,000 miles around the state of Maine to inspect these spaces, try to talk to these people, talk to their neighbors, and see if we could put some reality around this story that had come out.
Were these properties already there and you discovered them, or are these new properties that they're buying? What I'm getting at is, it's been what, 3 years since 2022 now. So you're saying there's over 500 of these homes, in the state of Maine. So are we seeing real estate double every 2 years, or are you just finding out more that were already in existence? You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I think it's a mixture of both. I think I'm finding new ones that had already been operating, but they are at a point where they're building themselves new facilities that are more suited to what they need. They're building facilities that are larger, that are more industrial in nature and are closer to the I-95 corridor, and have better security. And in part, I think
What
that's
kind of security?
I mean, gates, security cameras, motion sensors. There's some that I've been to where, maybe 40 feet before you drive past the foot of the driveway, you pass a motion sensor and lights go on at the end of the driveway.
Okay, so we're not talking about
Kinda
armed.
No,
security.
I've never seen people carrying guns. I've heard stories from neighbors about them being alarmed by hearing target practice and gunfire. I've never seen anyone armed with guns. I've been chased off a lot of sites by angry guys driving black Toyotas. They all love black Toyotas for some reason. I don't know what it is. They love Toyotas.
Is this guy like a whistleblower?
But
Who is
they,
this guy?
by and large, don't flaunt firearms. I've heard, I have some sources who have done work on these properties because once in a while it's necessary for them to interact with white contractors if they need propane work, for example, if they need electrical work. There are some things that they can't do themselves. They prefer to do all of their handiwork themselves because it doesn't allow, eyes peeping into what might be happening there. But I've heard, stories about large grows in very rural parts of the state where there are an abundance of military-age men dressed similarly. Not in. It was described to me as fatigues, close crop hair, and one of the things like an electrician, for example, will do when they're installing 400 amp service at a barn in rural Maine. So they'll go inside and do load testing to try and make sure that everything's worked out. And this individual told me, when he tried to go inside to do load testing, which is something he's done hundreds of times at all of the properties he's visited, two Chinese guys grabbed him, stopped him and said no, and physically escorted him off the property and stuffed two $100 bills in his back pocket and said, coffee money, coffee money, coffee money, and pushed him off the property. And we've had, a lot of stories like that of technicians being met at the driveway of facilities and told they can't enter, even though they'd been called to help service some kind of electrical need. There've been a lot of, I would say, alarming stories, and there's definitely a pattern of co-location with sensitive infrastructure and military facilities in Maine. But Maine doesn't have enough military facilities to really say for sure whether it's a pattern or if it's just that there are Chinese marijuana grows everywhere. And there's a total paralysis on the part of law enforcement to recognize that this is a phenomenon that is exclusive to Chinese guys from New York and Massachusetts who speak Cantonese, have, maybe they have green cards or citizenship, but they have historical ties to China. But a lot of them are straight illegal aliens, or they'll claim asylum after they're caught at an illegal marijuana site. None of them want to be called racist or accused of profiling, and I sympathize with that, and they should not be racist, but they also shouldn't blind themselves to the fact that this is a transnational criminal conspiracy aided and abetted by the Chinese Communist Party. It's a huge part of the equation. If you ignore that, you're fighting this with both hands behind your back. And we've had the state has had no help whatsoever from state leadership or the state police in combating these cartels. It's been almost exclusively county sheriffs and local police, and in a few instances, national DEA.
No shit. Nobody's on this except the locals, huh?
And even in many cases, not the locals.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.
Man, there you have it, y'all. Is China using weed to secretly poison Americans? I could believe it, because I was low-key saying this for a long time. I feel like the average American is just a bitch. Like, compared to other countries where they got real discipline and they be having real shit going on and shit like that, we too fucking spoiled over here, man. So if another country was to really get over here and get on our ass, I know that our military is strong, but I'm just talking about like the average person that's on the street. Like, the average person that's on the street in America ain't been through shit compared to some of these guys that's in Europe and Africa and these other places and shit like that, where they do real training. They got real discipline. They got real, principles that they have to believe in and that they have to abide by since they was born. They got real structure. They got real family. They got real rich culture and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? All that shit, make a motherfucker fierce. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like us Americans, we just be on Facebook, on Instagram, whammy, and all this other shit, getting high all fucking day. Man, we don't got no fucking real training for real. You know what I'm saying? We spoiled over here, man. We think that we the best. We think that we player one. We got player one syndrome. You feel me? So yeah, man. If that shit is crazy, man, we need to wake up, man. We need to really fucking wake up, man. And cause me personally, I smoke weed, got like damn near every single day. You feel me? So this is scary. You know what I'm saying? I'm high right now. You feel me? I got a little headache. Shit like right here. That shit hurt on phone now. So yeah, man. Till next time, man. Make sure that y'all like this video. Comment on this video if you got something to say. And subscribe to my channel, man. Click that post notification bell. Man, we trying to get this bread, man. We trying to get to the next level, man. We got more content in store for y'all. Till then, appreciate y'all. Sweet.